Su in pa in pa sao. Su in ra in pa ka woo. Oh I woo ra my tetsi. I hear woo ra. Su in pa sao. Su in ra in pa ka woo. Oh I woo ra my tetsi. I hear woo ra. Supreme thought, supreme being, supreme light. I manifest the knowledge for wisdom to shine bright. How you think you see the moon unless in the sun bright? When they claim independence, you can never dim the lights. Today's math is understanding. I'm about to get them right. This car trash through his ash through the tape, right? Only thing you really missing is understanding the fight. Supreme, supreme. Starving these sage and weed. I'm about to take speed. Entering me, mastering 55 degrees. The deity, higher than cold water. Into samadhi. You can never know my body. Bars, 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 bars. I'm a suit in pa in fra south. Su in ra in pa ka woo. Oh I woo ra my ketty. Pa here woo ra. I'm a su in pa in fra south. Su in ra in pa ka woo. Oh I woo ra my ketty. Pa here woo ra ra.
Supreme Rising. You already know the vibes. About to get into the incremental science 28 and 29. Sorry I didn't get to y'all yesterday. I had to balance out my energies or whatever, ground and meditation. You know, you got to do the processes. So, you already know the vibes. If my information helps you in any way, please feel free to support. The information is always in the description. If you're looking for, that's what I forgot to load up. Dang it. I forgot to load that up. Let me load it up right now while I'm sitting there thinking about it. Get your graphic design package today. You can always find that on the screen. It's posted everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's everywhere. Contact me today for your promotional, advertising, and graphic design needs. Now, let's get into incremental science. And please support. Like, comment, share. Send your donations. They are very much needed. And we are going to get directly into, let's set this real quick. Into incremental science. Okay, this is incremental science 28, right? And if you've been paying attention through all the incremental sciences, you know where we at right now. Ultimately, we're normally standing this way, facing the sun when we meditate. We're pulling in vitamin D, right? You're standing this way. But if you know, when I spoke into incremental science like a long time ago, I spoke to how divine energy is coming this way, but we are taking a divine energy facing it. We are looking towards the light. But once you fill up on that light and you get that universal awareness to the highest level, if you remember this illustration similar to this, the other day on another incremental science where I showed you how the shadow is the counterpart to you. So it actually has a tether to you. It's like you are the reality and the shadow is the counterpart to you. The shadow is the unseen world of you. So what happens is when you learn to turn around and you meditate into your own shadow, as you're focusing into yourself, then your consciousness can be transmuted from this place. Now, this is a form of death that they don't never talk about, but it actually takes place. It takes place a lot with higher beings that you just don't know about. This is why they don't speak about it, right? So what happens is, and this the stories that I've heard, illustrations I've read where they talk about different monks who were able to meditate for a long period of time and condense their energy. They would condense their energy down into like a button, and they would become a button. Like the body suit itself would condense down into a button, and the light would burn the shadow where they sat and they meditated. The light would burn, or the shadow would burn into the stone, and it would be a forever shadow wherever they were meditating. And that was very interesting to me, knowing the concepts of how we go enter through dimensional, how divine energy keeps shining through. That was very powerful because it was like the divine energy that sustained the physical body transmuted from the body into the shadow, which created a new world and left a bead behind. Now the bead that was left behind in his robe ended up being a talisman. They would say that they keep these beads for talismans because they ended up being good luck because of the energy that the individual was able to transmute in between this reality to the next. So they don't really speak about these deaths that occur a lot, but they do happen. Sometimes when you have these particular deaths, people would just sit and they would dry. They would just dry out, and their body would actually take on a mummification without being mummified. And their energy, who knows where they went at that point? Nobody knows if they went anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like if they traveled, like at that point. But I know the connection to the reality is you would have to you would have to river yourself out. You would have to condense yourself down, and then the shadow, which got burned into existence or burned into the stone, will become the new ether, which is the river. That's the river. That's the unseen river, the etheric river that came from you, out of you, that gave you life of creation or allowed you to create, and it will go back into a universal form, coming behind another black hole, subsequently creating a whole nother universe, becoming anew. That's focus, condensing. When you condense your energy, shrinking is the possibility. And it's been so many different. Like we get stories where they say the guy went on a boat and he was in the boat rocking back and forth for years, and then all of a sudden he found himself in these crazy storms, and then these crazy storms sucked him in through this wormhole or this water whirlpool, and the whirlpool took him to another world where he ended up being a giant. He's a giant around this land. These people are like, oh my God, it's a giant. We have to get him. And they tie him down and all this. And they call it Gulliver's Island. I think it was Gulliver's Island. But these stories are subsequently levels to understanding of when you transmute through certain things. Like it can happen by mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is why I was using the story of Gulliver's Island, like the guy on the boat going back and forth in the water. Now we talking about water, right? So then water mixes when it spins. So the waves is the greatest mixer in the world. So then you have all your chemistry in the body, lack thereof, you're fasting because you're not eating. You're in the boat, you know what I'm saying? You're in the direct sun, you know what I'm saying? So you got all the makeups of universal principle to send you somewhere at this point, whether you know it or not. You're not eating, so the euphoria is going to kick in. The heightened ability is going to kick in. The mixing of your fluids in your body, you're stirring around like this, like all your chemicals are just mixing around in your body like constantly, and the sun is baking you. You don't know where your mind sent you at that point. Like everything, whatever they want to call it, schizophrenia, crazy, sent you there and you woke up somewhere else. And ultimately, it wasn't in this dimension. And that's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of people disappear like that. They tell you about the Bermuda Triangle and all this other craziness and planes flying and getting lost in the clouds and never coming back for like 20 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, facing the sun when we
Oh
meditate.
damn.
we're pulling in vitamin D, right? You're standing this way. This situation again, that's something completely different. So something had to take over this in order for you to be put here again, because lost in the clouds and never coming back for like 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like different situations happen interdimensional all the time. My bad. I didn't mean to skip it up like that. I was trying to stop it. But basically, um, this is what most people don't understand. Like it's almost like how they touch the weed and shit, right? When they want to strip it apart and take all the pieces out, and they want to burn little in the like little different pieces of the weed and say this is good, this is not as good, or whatever value they're trying to control the aspect. This is how men think about everything. They want to control every goddamn thing. They want to know every goddamn thing, and it's going to be impossible until you're in the perfect condition of knowing. Knowing has nothing to do with how much you study. Knowing has to do with the space that you have to obtain the knowledge. So if you ever listen to most intelligent individuals, they are esteemed on particular values of health, and or somebody's around them helping them with their health value because of the concept of their mind. So it's like I take Terrence Howard for existence. Terrence Howard was talking to Joe Rogan, and like midway through an alarm went off, and he was like, I got a detox. And he was like, detox. He was like, yeah, my wife got me taking these things to remove unpure metals in my body, so therefore I'm optimum. He's like, I'm 50 something years old, don't I look good? He's like, yeah, you look like you 15 years younger. And he's like, and I smoke. You know what I'm saying? He smokes cigarettes and shit. So particularly when the vibrations change and you have obtained the space inside of yourself to gain more knowledge, naturally the universe replaces that empty space with universal principle, knowledge, and understanding. So the conditions have to be right. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, when things would happen back in the day, you was placed in conditions by force. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had to go on a journey and you ain't had no food, but you was in direct sunlight, that is a condition. If you was on the water rocking back and forth in direct sunlight with no food, that is a condition. These things are going to do things to your body. Is either your body's going to be strong enough to transmute the energy around it to give it sustainability, or you're going to die. One or the other. Being able to document them, that's something completely different. But I stumbled onto just different particular knowledges that peak itself, and getting some synchronicities and cross references with certain things that I think of myself. They made their self knowledgeable. They made their self knowledge with connected to understandings that I have that became wisdom. So then understanding that the focus from you to you is in the same. It's just that you never put that energy in the same. You don't never focus on. It's like saying that, like you, how many times do you look in the mirror and just study yourself? It's kind of like the same thing. You're looking in your reflection and you're studying yourself. You're transmuting your energy to where that is at that moment, but you're not particularly focusing on it as giving life to it. You know what I'm saying? And the shadow is the same aspect. That through the darkness is going to become another level of light. And don't forget that you have the sun that's lighting you up at the back. So the constant value of solar, the darkness, it's constant. It never stops. It goes on forever, ever. Whether or not you notice or aware of this or not, it just happens. This is the universe is being created for eternity, whether you're a part of it or not. Depending on, and see what's crazy is we got here through a higher understanding of having this concept of living or knowing divine principle. That's how we ended up getting here. But ultimately, through all of the conjunctions and the worldly actions that's taking place, you're not going to know how to get here again. You know what I'm saying? And people want to say, "Oh, reincarnation." Well, reincarnation is you being placed in this situation again, not a new world. And I think that's actually deep. For the most part, people are. It's always an emotion to a feeling, right? So, like when you don't know shit, and you don't really understand what the hell is going on in existence, like you're happy for whatever outcome to some situation that gives you a form of stability once again. So for the most part, people haven't looked at reincarnation as a setback. They looked at it as it was some miraculous type thing or whatever. When in fact, you have to be potentially in the right situation to be reincarnated. So that means your energy had to not grow. That means you had to not learn much. This means you had to not you might have experienced a lot of things, but you didn't take away from those things to get your energy to grow because um you have to understand semantics and you have to understand statistics. So, with the particular statistics of the value of your life and your living, your energy is going to fluctuate. It's either going to go down or it's going to go up. It's not going to stay in that perfect zone right there. And if your energy was able to come back, you was reincarnated. That spoke to you not being able to grow that energy in whatever direction. So you came back here. That's the only sustainable space for your particular type of energy. So reincarnation would take place. Moreover than that, if your energy grows, then you get the power to sustain your energy in another place. Ultimately, that has to do with your understanding. So if your understanding was deemably strong enough for you to navigate this space and time, then you have to be placed in another higher space and time that's more suitable for the energy fluctuation or the energy change of adjustment.
You see what I'm saying? This situation again, that's something completely different. So something had to take over this in order for you to be put here again, because when divine energy fills up, it's going. It's going to the next spot. You see what I'm saying? So for somebody to say, hey, we can refurbish this area and have you relive it again, that's deep. That's deep. You might want to check on and see who the foreman of the plant is. You better check on and see who the boss of the factory of that one, because after Divine finished pulling it forward, filling that cup up, the cup overflows and it gives enough to give another universe. So it get deep at that point. That's all I'm saying. It just get deep. So I ain't gonna hold on to that. Let's just keep going real quick. All right. So after you get to a point in the meditation and you understand that you're transmuting your physical energy into your dark energy. So that's all of the goodness that you've gained. This is why you meditate. This is why you focus. This is why you have balance. This is everything that you put into the right aspect of you. Then you put that into your shadow self. So then now you're working you're working the unseen part of you to bring balance, because you're taking the physical aspect that you're learning, the balances, and you're pushing them into your shadow through meditation. So once you do that and you connect those two worlds, possibly you can condense. You possibly can condense. This may take years to do. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Depending on the person. I don't know. I'm not speaking to something I've actually witnessed. This is something I've read about and things that I've seen people speak about, right? So if you are able to condense and make yourself minuscule, turn your existence into the etheric river. The etheric river changes to the black hole. The black hole recreates the process all over again, creates a sun and another universe, thus bringing back a new, and the new is the new universe. Until next time, until next time, we can recreate the process again. You know what I mean? Incremental science 28, man. You know what I mean? Like it's and step one was yesterday. Like I was showing you, we always facing the sun. When do you turn around? When do you have enough confidence to turn around from the sun and just let the sun warm your back while you give off the energy to something else, knowing that you are that solar energy. You are the pathway. Just like a male carries a shaft and the pathway for him to bust a nut. You know what I mean? It travels. It goes from him to that source to create a baby. You know what I mean? Everything in the universe is aligned behind the motion of divine motion. This is why you're able to understand divine principle, and every other principle. Look at what's laid out and then watch it go. Say, oh, okay, it's all the same. Yeah, it's all the same. I ain't gonna hold you, Naga.
Incremental science, y'all. Understanding the spiritual pretense and um, what that means for us, and potentially how these things come into existence. It allows your mind to travel on. See, the reason why we do universal travel is because it's a lot of other things that took place when when these situations was happening with your energy transfer. But there's memory in the spaces when you wasn't in the physical body, and you're not able to tap into that because you're into the physical body. So in order to learn the knowledge that you had before it went away at the age of 3, you have to go through these pathways and start to remember your process. And if you can do that through meditation, you can unlock shit in yourself. We're gonna take an intermission, and I'm gonna show y'all something I did a minute ago. Story is pretty dope. Let's get into it. This is a piece that I put together. Short, but interesting. I hope you enjoy it. Naga.
Always around, like it's trying to lead me somewhere. I feel so familiar with it, like I know this somehow. I'm not crazy. You just don't understand me, or yourself for that matter. And what do you think you know about who we are?
Nah, you're not crazy. We're something different, King. But it's still foggy. Let me walk with you.
Oh, so you want to build. You already know the vibes.
Well, what I've read so far is that our culture has been around for billions, maybe more. We carry a genetic link to the divine creators that established civilization.
Oh, snap. That's what's up. My grandma used to say I had an old soul. Wait, something's not right. I think it's happening again. I gotta get out of here.
As he runs down the stairs and into the streets, the spirit of the Black Nagas has awakened in him.
Hope you enjoyed that. It's a little tap into some of the skills that I'm capable of doing from time to time. I got a lot of little pieces of things all over the place, and it's interesting because it all leads back to one point. Everything I do leads to a point. But yeah, let's get into incremental science 29.
Incremental science. What's up, y'all? What's going on? Incremental science 29. 2-9. The big 2-9 equals 11. We walking through them doors, yo. We walking through them doors. Incremental science 29.
And it was actually dope how the timing came relevant to the value. This is incremental science 29. And we'll get ready to start talking about the gateless gate. You know what I mean? It's like the formulation of the universe don't make mistakes. It never does. But yeah, let's get into it.
How's everybody doing today? How's your life treating you? How's everything been going on? I haven't seen you. Been putting in this work. And if you ain't on the incremental science, you should be meditating on my live stream that I have playing for you in the background. You acting stupid. All right, look, we about to get into it. It's gonna be a deep one. All right, so let's cook. Incremental science 29. We've been talking about the shadow aspect. We've been talking about the wisdom, the connection in between the two. We've been talking about the understanding of a universe being within the shadow and you coming from the light aspect of an old process. So this is the diagram. So you know, I didn't do no PowerPoints because I wanted to do some artistic value for you. I wanted to show y'all something that looked nice. So as we can see, I gave you like a reflection aspect, but kind of turned this way. Instead of reflecting like a normal reflection, I gave you the reflection of the universe. So as his shadow is reflecting down, he's meditating, you see the sun coming down, but there's a line of symmetry in between that connection to the universe because it wraps around. It keeps wrapping around. This is the yin yang, this is the 6 9. I heard some idiot, excuse me, I don't want to, talk about people, talking about the two hemispheres earlier and talking about some CIA papers or whatnot. And he was thinking he was explaining it right. It was funny to me because I knew he wasn't explaining it right. You know what I mean? Like they don't understand, so I know he don't understand because he was like, to me that means he's like it means to me that this side is this brain and this brain and there one works on the art and the analytical and I'm like, yeah, that's what everybody believe, yo. Everybody in the universe believe this, even the CIA people, whoever you talking about, everybody believe that. But I'm hood. I'm about to show y'all something different. All right, look. We talk about the left and the right hemispheric brains. We talk about the light and the darkness. We talk about, the shadow and the real body, to my in yourself, out yourself, and all that. Why are these things important? Why are they counterparts? And before I even get into the real point, I'm gonna stay away from that for a minute, but my mind is all over the place. So let me just attack this one at a time, one piece at a time. All right. So understanding that the two hemispheres of the brain is retrospect to the idea of everything that's labeled behind a point of energy that does not change. Divine's energy that goes everlasting, nonstop forever. It does not change. It's a point of energy that never changes. So the way it formulates itself through existences, through dimensions, it stays the same way. Now, if I'm speaking towards a quality of sexuality, it doesn't work for universal principle. It explains sexuality to us is a diluted version of universal principle. This is why our culture, Nagrecians, Neters, Nagas, Egyptians, Kushites, anybody from original pretense back in the day, we had a respect. This is why you had obelisk and stuff like that around. It was a respect for the sexuality aspect. It's because of what the light does and what the womb does. These two things is not a form of sex. It's when it starts to get diluted down to the value of physical attributes when we start to interpret these things as physical attributes. Light extends. So since light extends, ultimately it's a male part. That doesn't mean it's male. It's a male understanding. It's the male explanation. It's the reason why we formulate into male in the physical. The female attribute, the womb, she absorbs everything, all the light. It goes in her. You see why that's a her? Because it goes in her. If I had a plug and I had if I had a plug in the socket, the plug would be the male part and the socket would be the female part because one goes in the other. Light extends. So if light ran past a black hole, it would disappear because it goes in it. That has nothing to do with sexuality. All right. So when we're speaking on the two hemispheres of the brain, the reason why the analytical side transmute the understanding for the right side because one is a male side and one is a female side. It's not because it will. It's just because what it is. And depending on how you come into this world as a man or a woman, if you come as a man, your idea is to understand the female principle, not be it, because you're the man energy. You're the extending solar energy. That means you will replicate that understanding in the next dimension. Your energy is still extending out because divine goes forever. But through the womb is where you will come out into a new universe, into a new time, into a new space. Okay, this is why this is weird to people. Like this is why they don't understand it. Like you want it to be left hemispheric, right hemispheric. You want it to be like that. That doesn't even exist. Those are terms that we created. That's not even a logical understanding to universal principle. And universal principle dilutes down to an understanding to where we can finitely use it. This is the difference when it comes to understanding the universal principle and what the hell y'all think y'all be talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to explain something so bad, but you can't explain it because you yet to understand the feminine properties and the male properties. You want it to all be sexual. You want it to all be, well, oh, because this is masculine. God has nothing to do with the feminine aspect or the male property. When he created, listen, when Divine created his first creation, I've said this in a lot of my builds, the aspect of Pisces, he created a womb, boom, like that. It came into the universe, a womb. See the hole? See the hole in between the two holes? The womb. That's like two thighs and the noonie. That's why the woman was made like that. 2,000 and noonie, just like the aspect of Pisces. You know why that was created right there? Because that's where all the creation aspect will go. That's where all the knowledge of the divine was placed. Why? Because all his creations will transmute through there.
It's a deeper understanding to this concept at that point, because before I didn't see it, but I see it clearly now. So it's like, and not for nothing, Terrence Howard was talking about certain things that made me unravel a particular value. He doesn't believe it's a black hole, but I'm still going to prove that that's relevant and that it is a black hole because of the force pressure. So the force pressure of pure divine energy, when it first comes through, is so potent that it rips the time and space. So we look at individual universes within their own body of space, because the ripple effect that brings it backwards. So it'll come backwards, right? So this is the backwards is the recreation of creation. So creation comes and it starts from the beginning. And as it starts from the beginning, it creates the angles with the angels because it flows in every direction. And then from that pulse, it starts to create the negative frequency, which is the wave. And then the wave goes all the way to the end of this particular existence, washes against that wall, and come back like a beach shore. And when it comes back, that force and energy starts to create again. So it creates going forward and it creates coming back. So when it came forward is when it started puncturing through space and time. It had to literally puncture through different spaces and time in order to fill up the whole existence of the body that we obtain in space and time. So it's constantly doing that so it can fill up faster. The quickest way to flow water through a space is to put holes in it. So especially a space that's intangible or doesn't have any flaws. It's just a complete some symmetrical circle. So you have to create the holes. This is where the erratic or the chaos comes into the understanding of the universal principle. So it creates the holes, and these holes start to flow in every direction, washing up against its existence and then coming back. So once it starts, the implosion allows the implosion allows these flows of energy that wash out to come back, because it's literally hitting the existence wall of its particular area. So when it comes back, it literally slows down the potential of the explosion. And this is when the creation of solidification starts to take place. Things start to solidify and come together in different aspects. And this motion keeps happening in different directions as a push and pull method. So as these things are taking place and more solidification is taking place, it has more to slow down the force of the, it's like saying it was just a vast ocean or a vast pond, and then rocks started coming up in it and it started slowing down the ripple effect. This is from the solidification. So knowing that these things are taking place in this motion, we get divine symmetries like the flower of life that comes into existence, because it shows the dynamic of universal connection unflawed.
Not I put this in here for you to have this knowledge and go out here and do godly work. No, that's not what it was. He put all the knowledge into the black womb so it would recognize all his creations.
And see, deeper than that, that was just my particular understanding of it at the time when I was first getting a download. But really, what was going on, it wasn't putting the information there. It was flowing through it. Everything is a passageway. It's a passageway to allow the energy to flow first and foremost. So the energy is connected. Like if you think about taking beads and putting it on the necklace, right? So you would have to have a string to go through the center of the circle and come out of the other side, right? So as you're pushing the string in, that is the puncture of the divine energy that brings forth what? Connection. So now you're connected to everything in existence. All the beads are connected by one string. You know what I'm saying? It's simply put, but not for nothing. The label of action is labeled behind the perception of the entity that is connected to. So the existence of the connection is what's formulated by that as a value. So what we do is what is connected to.
Naga. I don't be understanding, yo. So I'm trying to tell y'all something. So then it was so vast, it was so much. The first creation had to stabilize it because it was going everywhere. Had to create a sun. Had to create a sun to balance out that energy. Facts. Thus, the yin yang properties was created. This is all happening in divinity. It's not like God is saying, I'm going to create this, I'm going to create that. As the power of divinity extends through the first creation, it was remnant of the Father. You want to call the Father, the only reason why I became a father because he extended. So then he needed something to receive it. So created a woman. So then therefore she created a son. And then he needed, nah. It just kept going and kept going. This is energy. It had nothing to do with principle. We put terms on things like, oh, mother, father, son. That has nothing to do with it. The only one that held jurisdiction to the attribute was the sun. Because the sun in the sky, star, sun, S-O-N, all this craziness, ain't got nothing to do with nothing. None of that has nothing to do with anything. The point, though, the womb creating the star, which is really divine energy and composite, a whole composite of divine energy that people are trying to measure off of what it gives off. You'll never know what's really inside of the sun because what it gives off is what it burns off. So that means it's a chemical action that burns it off. Unless you get a piece of the sun from the surface, you'll never know what's inside of it. Never. 500 feet from the surface, the chemical makeup of the sun starts to change because it's so hot, it's burning everything that comes off it. 1,000 feet above that, you're not getting anything from the sun. By the time it reaches the top of the sun, what we call light, it's helium and all that other stuff. That's the real understanding that I'm not even going to get into that. That's another conversation. I'm not going to go there because it's like you're still trying to understand and whatever. But look, my point to this incremental science 29 is to understand the principles of how the shadow or your shadow, because it's the unseen, is connected to what you can't see. In the same retrospect to what shine on you illuminates the value of what you can see. That's why his back is turned to the universe that would be on the unseen. So it's reflection. But the reflection sees it all. Have you ever sat there at night and did that before? Sat in a reflection and watch how the reflection on the water shows you the sky, and you start seeing more of the sky than you thought you could see from what you was looking at. Because yeah, it's deep like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I go out to the river sometimes and I stand over the water and I look at the water early in the morning and I see the reflection. It's like it's the same, but it's different because the reflection shines farther. You know what I'm saying? So you get to see more on the reflection sometimes. It's just dope like that. So this is why I actually made this image in that aspect. You don't know how deep to go in. And I've been trying this little meditation, like walking with it and actually focusing on my shadow right directly in front of me with the sun behind me. So weird things been taking place. So it's like that's the way you probably should have been doing it for like meditating for all of these years. So yeah, you already know the vibes. It's very interesting. I implore you to do it yourself. But knowing that your universe is connected through your shadow, it's because you can't see it. And it keeps going in a circle like this. As your reflection, everything is reflected. So it keeps spinning like this. And it's the same way as your hemispheres of your brain. You can go from your male to your female hemisphere of the brain, depending on what you need to handle people, depending on how you feel you need to handle people. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's an understanding. This is why it's imperative to understand. If you're a male, understand the female principle. If you're a woman, understand the male principle and bring balance in that for your thought pattern. I ain't gonna hold you. Naga.
I always get sidetracked. I was supposed to break down why I didn't believe the guy knew what he was talking about. And I never got around to that. I think I remember doing that. You know what I'm saying? But hold on. Hello? Hello? I guess they don't be wanting to talk to me. Damn, telemarketers call so much. I'm gonna record them one day, yo, and put these fuckers on damn screen. Yeah, they get on my nerves, be blowing my phone up for no reason. Anyway, yeah, this incremental science, man. Um, I gotta get in a better situation so I can start this, so I can do the other two sections of 33. So I got six more classes I want to do. Probably 99 more classes I want to do. Because I see a lot of things that I need to draw out in order to explain it. So you already know the vibes. If you're digging what I'm putting out, please support, comment, subscribe, like, share. You know what I mean? This is how Naga works. I got a lot of things I'm gonna show y'all because I know a lot of people don't. I got too many videos for people to keep up. I got over 1,400 videos, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna be showing y'all though. I'm gonna keep y'all tapped in or whatever. I'm gonna bring back a lot of stuff, and as soon as I get in a better situation, I'm gonna complete a lot of things, especially the book. You know, so yeah, I ain't gonna hold y'all. But if you need graphic designs, you need advertising and promotion to go with it, let me know. You know what I mean? I got you. It's $75 a day, $250 a week, $850 a month. I think I'm the cheapest out right now. Most people are charging $2,500 plus. You know what I mean? For a month. So you do the breakdown yourself. Reach out to me. We can work out something. If you reach out for a consultation today, you might get a discount or an offer. Because I mix it up. So contact me and we'll get something happening. We'll get something going. You already know the vibes, man. I ain't trying to hold you. I'm just trying to show you something. Naga.